That Man and His Manga.
Hello and welcome to That Man. That is me merchandise, and today we are talking about an original English light novel. That's right, today we are looking at I Became a Girl to Win the Tournament. Written by Hatsusaru. A young man, Reiji Arai, he is transported to another world on the whim of what is essentially a bored god. The world is not really much different from ourselves. In fact, it pretty much is our world, except one thing. Men take up 3% of the world's population. They tend to be tagged, they tend to be restricted on what they can do, and if they don't comply with the rules of the world, they end up in prison. That's right, this is a world that is entirely dominated by women. And he is tasked with one thing: win a tournament. Nothing really is really said about this tournament. Just win it. And if you win it, you will lead a life of luxury. And so he decides to do it. However, unbeknownst to him, the tournament is women only. The plot was quite a simple one. In fact, I was quite surprised at how interesting this actual narrative was. Originally, I didn't expect much from it. In fact, I'm not gonna lie, when I first looked at this title, I was thinking, this might be a little bit problematic. But what I got instead was something a little bit more interesting. You can tell the author is a fan of two things. One, Ecchi, and two, pro wrestling, or at least the stuff in the 80s. And this has managed to produce quite an interesting story. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I really felt that it lent heavily into the Ecchi. The character is very much kind of like, oh, well, I love the melons on that, which can at times get a little bit annoying, but it's not anything that I would say hinders the actual content that I enjoyed the most, the pro wrestling. There's not really many pro wrestling titles out there. I can think of Monster Girl Wrestling and Ultimate Muscle. Those are the two really anime kind of manga wrestling things I can think of. Not anything really when it comes to light novels, however. And the authors managed to capture that rather well. Each match is rather interesting in its own way. It's got enough that anybody who is a fan of pro wrestling will manage to enjoy, but there's also enough there that anybody who isn't really that well versed in it will also get enough fun content out of it. It's a nice blend, and it really does work in this kind of aspect. With it being an original English light novel, you can tell at the start that the author is a little bit more inexperienced. However, as with a lot of these original light novels, once you get through the first few pages, maybe the first 50 pages or so, the plot manages to pull itself together and starts going through quite rapid. We get a huge cast of characters introduced to us rather quickly, and my biggest downfall with this one was that I felt that a lot of the characters did start to blend into one. Especially when you kind of have that whole aspect of this being a bit more of an ecchi series. As you can expect, it's more of a big boobed wrestling girls. But because obviously the cast is 97% female, it's quite difficult to sometimes tell them between each other. I did find that there was a lot of overly descriptive paragraphs at the beginning. Especially the first chapter, where it was just like I think it spent about 2 pages just explaining a bench, and I was just like, yeah, I like benches, but that don't feel like from the first few pages that would put you off. What we do have here is a pretty competent title. It is pretty unique as well. It's something that I never really thought that I would see before, and I did enjoy my time with this story. Ultimately, I Became a Girl to Win the Tournament. It was an interesting read. I did enjoy my time with it, and I felt that once I got into it, I managed to plough through it rather quickly. The start of it was a little bit more awkward, and I felt that there was a bit too much focus on the ecchi side of things rather than the pro wrestling side of things that I kind of liked. But it did manage to pull itself together as the title went on. It didn't ever feel like I was reading a bad title. I enjoyed it enough. And I would recommend you guys at least give it a check out. You can find it on all good places original English light novels are held, and I will leave some links in the description of where you can pick up your very own copy. But let me know what you guys thought. Did you enjoy it? Let me know in the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe. See you later.